Unfortunately, my father had lung cancer. Both my father and mother came from affluent families, but unfortunately, the illness went through their savings. And so mother went to work for the first time when she was about 46 years old. She spoke 3 languages fluently, French, German, and English. But at that time, there really weren't that many openings, so she worked as a clerk in a dress store, and that's how she sort of kept us going. 2 years later, he died. I was 8 and my mother was 48. She wasn't savvy about money. She didn't know anything about investments because Dad had taken care of it. It's typical family of that time. Mother had a trust fund that her father had left her, and found out that unfortunately the family member had mismanaged and even more than that, quote unquote, borrowed from the fund. But that really left an impression. It was when I was a teenager, and I thought if Mother had known more about money earlier, I think she would have caught on to what was wrong. And I resolved that I was never going to let that happen to me, and I was determined that I would know about money and not let that happen. I graduated in 1960, so you were really being brought up to be a good wife and mother. I took a course in shorthand, and then I went to a guidance counselor, somebody who found you a job. She lined up a couple of interviews for me, and one of them was with a stock brokerage firm based in Washington, D.C., where I would be a secretary in the research department. There was a woman who interviewed me, and she was high up at the firm. Her name was Julia Walsh. She was the first woman on the American Stock Exchange. By the time I got there, both Julia and the other woman was Gail Winslow, had proven that women could be successful as advisors. And so I had role models before I even knew what a role model was. I was very lucky. Julia decided to split off from Ferris and Company and start her own firm. And she started it with 3 of her sons and me. We're in the 70s by now. I found a course on financial planning, which was called the Certified Financial Planning Course. And I thought, well, that's good. That would give me some additional information. And maybe that'd give me an edge above somebody else. So I went through it. And then I passed the test. I think there were 100 in the graduating class, and there were 2 women. And I was one of them. And I remember Julia saying, "Why are you doing this?" She said, "It distracts you from the investments." I said, "No, I think it gives me a competitive advantage." So I parted ways. Julia tried to talk me back into it, and I'd already made up my mind. And so then I started 4 blocks away from where their office was. Alexandra Armstrong Advisors. I'm probably most proud of the fact that we are a nationally known and respected financial planning firm, and that we're respected by our peers. I was president of the Financial Planning Association, and I was their first female president. As I said, in my era, it was you married well, and of course that didn't always turn out right, but you hoped that was your meal ticket. And then as women got their own jobs and started making money and realizing that they could contribute something to themselves and to their environment, et cetera, and that they could make a difference, I think it really has changed. But the problem you've got is there's still a group of women who do not pay attention. As I said, you don't have to know all the answers, but you sure need to know the questions to ask. But to be clueless just is irresponsible.